Man, this issue, I tell you what, when it gets going, it gets going. My name is Dorian, this is SEM Comics, and we are covering X-Men number 23. So our story starts off on a satellite that Dr. Stasis has set up that's orbiting the Earth, that literally has a makeshift house that I guess he used to have, since he feels like he's the original Nathaniel Exits, which he's not, but we'll get into that. And he's having dinner with his cloned wife and kid, who promptly die as soon as he's done eating. What the hell is wrong with all these Sinisters? So then all you hear is, I had to see this pitiful charade for myself. He's like, what, you? And it's Mother Righteous. Now she has reason to be pissed off, because we find out right here now that she is not a clone of Nathaniel Exis. She is actually a clone of his wife, which a version of her is right now dead in her spaghetti or whatever the hell they was eating. And then she pretty much lets him know again that he is not the original Nathaniel Exis, that he is just a clone. But besides all that, she is going to be taking a interest, possible controlling one, in Orcus, and there's nothing he could do about it. So she goes to reach for a glass of wine. He grabs her hand and he has a ring on it, and all of a sudden she's like, ow. And he shows that it has a little pricker thing on there, and he shows that he got her DNA now. And he goes, look, before you start threatening me, we're going to see who is who and what is what. Some other righteous is like, you do have his arrogance, but while you were made in this image, you are not the man, and I am not your wife. And she hits him in the balls hard. Like, you could count to 100. He's not getting up. She's like, I normally don't get so hands-on, but I'm going to be extremely busy, and I ain't got time to be nursing some fragile male's ego. So somehow, by the grace of God, Dr. Stasis can still talk. And he's like, you and I, hearts and clubs. The disgusting one with the diamond on his forehead is there, and then there's still to be a spade to play, so obviously they don't know about Orbis Solaris. There's a game afoot, and I intend on being the winner. Perhaps we're stronger together. We can. And Mother Righteousness cuts him off. It's like, no. After what happened this evening, that ain't going to happen. And you're going to thank me later for establishing these boundaries. And then she goes, final thoughts. And you better listen up and listen good. Don't make any attempts to have a future with me. And no more clones of your wife and kids. Not a single one, love. And then he goes, probably with his balls swollen to the size of grapefruits. But darling, you know I hate to eat alone. So then it cuts to New York, where we have firefighters fighting this 3-alarm blaze. We have some firemen that's on the roof. The roof caves in. Now they're trapped in the building. They radio for a bucket, and all of a sudden this fist comes through the wall. Huge fist. It opens up his hand, and the firefighters get into the hand. They're like, what is this? They're like, I don't know, but it looks like Iron Man's been taking steroids. Now, for those who know, please bear with me for a second. For those of you who don't, let me give you a quick rundown who Feilong is. Feilong dreamed of terraforming Mars, but unfortunately, the mutants beat him to the punch when they terraformed it and put New Araco there. So like my drill sergeant used to say, this pissed off Feilong to the highest level of pissivity. But what did he do? First, he did a hostile takeover of Stark Unlimited. That's why these Sentinels look like Iron Man. Then he joined Orcus, so now these Sentinels are going straight after the mutants. And that's exactly what happened next. Soon as he saves these 2 firemen, Sentinel turns to this other fireman and goes, mutant detected. Then he goes, hostile mutant protocols enabled, and shoots this huge beam out of his chest right at the fireman that just missed him. Then he's about to step on the dude when all of a sudden the Sentinel gets hit in the back with an optic blast. You know who that is. And then his foot barely misses the fireman. On the next page we see is Scott Summers, optic blast, Forge, Firestar, and Iceman. All we need is Spider-Man, because we already got his amazing friends. See, only my old heads out there remember Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
His amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
So Iceman's the first one to try him, and he's flying around, and he automatically just notices something different about the Sentinel, because he's like, most of these Sentinels start to freeze up when they're under this much cold pressure, but this dude can't handle it, and then he knocks the hell out of Iceman. I mean, shattered him. Now Iceman's gonna be fine, but pretty much took him right out off the bat. But Iceman will be back. So then Forge is flying on his jetpack, and he's hitting him with this ray gun. He's like, hold on, my little ray gun should have melted his hide. Maybe we should rethink this. So Firestar goes to Bobby and is like, look, you need to put out the building. We need to handle one fire at a time. And then Firestar starts to light up. Scott calls in Jean, Synch, and Talon and tells Synch to get Polaris' powers because he got a big can for him to crush as he's hitting the Sentinel with his optic blast. Iceman comes back. He's like, the building's out. Now let's put this big boy on his ass. And the Sentinel turns around, hits him with a repulsor beam. Iceman's out again. So Forge is like, we need to stop fighting this thing like it's a Sentinel. We need to start fighting it like it's a 3-story Iron Man. And as much as I loathe Tony Stark, the man's a genius. So then he busts out something on his wristwatch and he's like, as powerful as this machine is, it's only as good as its code. And then it starts making these weird noises. So Forge is like, folks, trust me, never leave home without a powerful logic bomb on your wrist. And all of a sudden the Sentinel just goes Unit 001 switching to uncompromised mode and smacks the hell out of Forge. I mean, Forge would be lucky if he got smacked in the middle of next week, because I'm pretty sure he got smacked to the afterlife. Like, Scott knows how serious that is because he just yells Forge, but he ain't got no time because that Sentinel turns around and shoots both repulsor beams at Scott. So now Magic teleports in and she brings Jean, Synch, and Lord Kenny, who is now Talon, who is fresh out the vault, to the scene. Jean puts a bubble around Scott to save him from the Sentinel, but the Sentinel kicks the hell out of the bubble, and even though he's wrapped in the bubble and he's protected, the Force still knocked out Scott. So then Synch did what Scott said, and he starts using Polaris' powers and he's trying to crush the Sentinel. But then he realizes it's not working and he goes, oh no, the Sentinel has corrective measures to magnet. He couldn't even finish the phrase before this Sentinel crushed him in his palm into the ground. I mean, Synch is hurt. You can see the bone sticking out of his knee. This man should be dead. Bruh. And Lord Kenny comes out of nowhere and starts using his healing factor. I'm thinking to myself like, man, so let me go and let me go ahead and come back and be resurrected. I'll just be compromised because, dude, he is hurt. He needs some milk. So then the Sentinel shoots like this harpoon at Magic. She cuts it down with a sword, but a little bit cuts her cheek. And then Jean's like, Magic, end this. So the Magic opens up a portal. Sentinel falls, closes the portal. What the hell's a portal? Must be them newfangled portals or something. One day, y'all, I'm gonna get better. Opens up again. Sentinel falls into it, closes it again. Opens it up, closes it again, breaking this Sentinel down to its common denominator when only the head's left. So then Jean starts using her powers and she breaks the head down to a manageable size, and then Forrest comes out of nowhere and I'm like, somebody need to check his pulse because that dude should be a walking zombie. I don't know how the hell he survived that, let alone walking around and got his senses to him, because he didn't catch as bad as Synch, but he caught it. So it's Dr. Stasis, Feilong, and Nimrod walking together, and Feilong's a little bit pissed off. He's like, did you waste one of my Sentinels? And Dr. Stasis is like, calm down, the Sentinel did his job. You know, it transmitted all the things that we needed. And then it shows a picture of Magic, and it's like, well, how the hell we gonna deal with that? And Nimrod's like, you let me deal with the Omega levels. Oh, it's looking so bad for the X-Men because Nimrod is a beast and these Sentinels are some hosses. Oh my god. Whew. I ain't never seen Sentinels beat up the X-Men like that. So then it switches back to Krakoa and you got Emma walking with the Kingpin on the beach, and she's pretty much telling him, because of your marital status to Typhoid Mary, who is a mutant, you're allowed to stay on the island, but if you start acting up, we're gonna kick your ass off. And then Scott comes and he's like, I hope I'm not interrupting. And Kingpin's like, no, our business is concluded. He turns around and goes, see you both at the gala. And then Scott's like, please tell me that's Mystique. Emma's like, I wish it was. So then Scott thinks that Emma summoned him because he heard that him and Jean are on her outs. But Emma's like, no, that's not the case. Calm your butt down. And then Scott's like, oh, well, then what is it? And then Emma informs him that Miss Marvel, that he was close to, got killed in New York. If you don't know what happened, just read Spider-Man number 26. So then Emma's like, I guess it changes our conversation about the resurrection protocols, because Scott was against any non-mutants using the resurrection protocols, but because Ms. Marvel was such a good friend to him, he's like, yeah, of course, this changes everything. But he's like, hold on, she had a secret identity in the family. And Emma's like, look, I got it. I'm the primary janitor here at Krakoa, so don't worry, I'll take care of everything. And that is how this fantastic book ends.